Jenna or Jennifer?
Hey, Roger. Yeah.
Eric, did you need something?
I was just going to ask if you guys, did anyone see the banner? Were we able to get that up?
Yeah, it's up. I actually have a picture of it to show the committee where it is. It's right in front of the clubhouse.
Okay, great. I'll start. This is our Board of Veterans Affairs meeting. We've gotten this organized. We've been trying to meet, well, had hoped to meet a couple months ago, and obviously had gotten interrupted. When we had last met, we had spoke about banner program that we're partnering with the Legion on, as well as ambitions for being designated a Purple Heart City. I think we have a couple of updates on that. Jenna I sent out some materials for everyone to look at last night, and Jenna can bring those up on screen to share, if that's helpful. John, I don't know if you had anything to add.
Oh, Roger just called me and he couldn't get in, but he's heading to the city building. So I don't know where you're at, Chief, but you in the upstairs conference room?
Chief's downstairs in the room we typically meet in.
Okay. Yeah, Roger's on his way there. Said he'd be there in a few minutes. But we can go ahead if you'd like.
Did everyone have a chance to look at maybe start with the street banners and the draft application? That reflects what we had looked at a couple months ago as an early draft. John had looked at some other cities, combined some materials, then we went back through and tried to get everything into one format. A couple of areas that we highlight in yellow, thought maybe just bore some conversation to confirm that everyone was comfortable with that. I think the ambition here is and this by way of review, we had 4 historic Mason veterans that John was working with the families to get pre-approved and call them sponsored, so that their banners, the funds John has available would pay for those. We would be able to get those up and use that to kind of kick off a program so that other folks interested in sponsoring a Mason veteran would have templates. And I think our concern is before we put up the historic banners that we're all comfortable. We know that's going to generate interest. Every time we've mentioned it, we start getting emails about, how do I get a banner? So we want to make sure that the program is all in place. So as soon as interest is out there, we can move forward with something everyone's comfortable with.
I do have a quick question, Eric, on the eligibility requirements. Excuse me. One of the things I was reading, it just may need just some clarity. But even the first line where it says the individual to be honored and recognized must reside or have resided in the city of Mason during their military service. Are we requiring that they needed to be living here during their service? Or can they be a veteran and transplanted here? And
Hope not, because that's the way I am transplanted. I got here in 77, so it was after my service.
okay.
How I guess read it, and that's why it's marked in yellow. That's one of the areas, some uncertainty. How I read it is that they live here now, like John lives here now, or if while they were serving, they had lived here.
Okay, all right.
Maybe they don't live here anymore. Perhaps they even, were lost. But
Gotcha.
while they were serving, they were.
Okay. Would it warrant some clarification then in that first line to maybe must be a veteran currently living in Mason, or because that last part, have resided in the city of Mason during the military service is fine, but I guess the way that I'm reading it, not to overcomplicate it, is that hey, you needed to live here during your service, during your time of service.
I think I'd probably defer to John. We were trying to come up with language. We knew the program was geared towards Mason veterans. We were worried if there were too much demand because lots of folks could sponsor a veteran in Mason. that we
Sure.
weren't overwhelmed with demand. I think we were looking for language that would help the Legion screen those. So
Okay.
I don't think,
Does the second bullet point help out? If you read the second, does that?
Do you have that up somewhere?
Oh, yeah, I could share it. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Does
Yeah,
that help?
it does. Yeah, no, I apologize. Yeah, it does. Server have served.
Do we have any policy in the event that they move away from Mason? Like, are we going to take the flag down, or like, how does that work?
I think
Are these $80 like for every year, or is it a one-time deal?
I think it's a
no.
one-time deal.
until that banner, and I think we were looking at language, a maximum of 2 years. Our notion is the banners aren't going to last forever. You purchase that banner, maybe we'll promise you it'll be up 2 years, but after that, if it's not in shape, then it's gone and you need to re-up.
And that might be good too, every 2 years, because that's a way that the VFW can earn some money too.
So maybe under terms and conditions, we add a bullet point that says the banner is good. It already talks about if it's in disarray or no longer appropriate, that we'll remove it, but maybe the $80 commits to the banner being. The only problem with this is if we commit to 2 years, it also, if you read in there, we're concerned that there'll be a huge demand.
Yeah.
We only have so many banner poles. And so we do say we'll try to get the banners up, but if we get more requests than we have banner poles, we're going to have to do like a rotation thing.
Right.
So do we want to add 2 years in there? We did not do that, Eric.
My suggestion would be just language that, they shouldn't expect more than 2 years. That.
Yeah, due to deterioration or whatever of the banner itself.
Plus, I think you avoid some of, like if we take a banner down because we think it looks worn, but, somebody else's down the way doesn't get taken down. It kind of eliminates all that. Well, you didn't take his down when it looked like that, but you took ours down. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff that happens.
Yep.
Plus, it's a way to rotate people in and out,
I don't want to make it just make it 1 year. And then that way, after that year, they can still hang that in a room in their house or do something with it. And that might help with the demand.
One thing we're concerned with, and maybe a greater problem, the demand, is the tracking. Like if we're storing banners and have to, to rotate them on a certain schedule or get them on a certain banner pole or, return them to the family on a certain schedule, that's going to create a kind of a logistic administrative work that I'm not sure we're geared up for. I guess if John wants, we could, when we take banners down and are disposing of them, we could give them to the Legion and ship that.
And then we can dispose of them or take them or come back to the family, whatever.
That's good. I like that. I think we should just start with 2 years, and in 2 years, we can always change it.
Yeah. I agree.
I love this idea, by the way. This is going to be wonderful. Super excited.
Hey, John, that may be a good jumping off point for another question we had on the cost to participate at $80.
Yes.
And then we talk about proceeds serving as a fundraiser. At $80, we've just paid for the banner at the current price. So there is no fundraising, there's nothing left over.
I think
So do we want to adjust that price is kind of the question.
it's a really low price. I mean, I think you could do it for 150 easily.
Because, I talked about, I still have $5,900 in the Mason Memorial Fund that we had left over that I wanted to get like these first 20 started. So.
And John, perhaps, and I don't want to offload on you too much, but I do. If we did say it's $150, as Diana suggests, that's how the program is promoted to folks. Your dollars and the Legion could determine, and maybe for members or veterans, those you can use yours as kind of a scholarship or a sponsorship program where you'll underwrite $70 of it because you know the circumstances of that individual. Or
I like that too. Yeah.
That's a great
I think
idea.
I think that would work good. So then I can sponsor some of the veterans from the post or ones that we feel we really want to get up there, like the Joe Bars and people like that.
But I think the other virtue of the 150, apart from the dollars it raises, is it filters the demand. The cheaper they are, then the more,
Right.
the greater the demand on them will be.
Yeah.
Well, and if you found out someone couldn't afford it, but we really think they need up there, that's where the Legion could step in and say, we're going to use some of these proceeds we have here for that.
Who's paying for the poles? Mason?
They're already up. They're already the street banner poles. So when we put in or widen a street or roadway, that's typically part of the landscaping.
Okay.
And this is up and down Mason Montgomery Road, correct? Where we're going to put them.
I think our thought process was to start with Mason Montgomery and Tylersville, the most visible.
Okay. And Eric, you said something about the ones up at the corner up here. Those aren't built for these type of flags, right?
I couldn't hear all of that, John.
The corner of the street here, where you have all the events and stuff, those poles aren't built for banners, right?
You mean the banner across 42, where that is?
No, on up the street where the war bunker is.
You're talking about the downtown plaza?
Yeah.
Across from the bank? Yeah, those aren't banner poles that can support these banners. These are the ones you see in the median.
I thought that's where we were going to start with them, in the plaza.
We had talked about maybe doing a demo one there, just trying to prop it up, but those poles aren't designed to hold the load or the wind factor like the median poles are.
Do you think we should start in downtown Mason to draw people into Mason to see them?
Well, we don't have banner poles downtown.
Downtown Mason? Oh, that's too bad.
We put flags up there, but that's a different the angle. I keep doing body language here, no one can see it.
Don, as you can see, Roger joined us, so
Okay.
he's now part of the meeting.
How much is it to put poles in downtown Mason?
It'd probably be expensive, but the bigger issue would probably be the crowding with everything else you have in the medians there, and then the distance. Getting a banner pole, getting it visible, and so it doesn't interfere with traffic because you have a banner now hanging out over the roadway.
Makes sense.
And I will tell you, the utilities have gotten, like the Duke, the lighting poles and stuff that may be there, the utility poles, they are very strict now as far as allowing anything on their poles.
Okay.
I think maybe just for sake of confirmation, and John, maybe this is your lead, the cost that we put in this application, what number should we be using?
Well, Anna mentioned $150, and I think that's probably, like TJ said, that kind of defers people from getting them. And, I'm planning on taking care of those people in the Legion and VFW that deserve that. So probably pay half of that for them out of the memorial fund I have left.
Okay, so if there's no objection, we'll use 150.
Yeah, I like that amount. I think on the application, we should also have a place where if people want to donate money to go towards other individuals who can't afford the banner,
Yeah.
you know, maybe somebody will just pay $200 and that extra $50.
That's a good
Yeah,
idea.
I was going to suggest something like that. I like the idea that we remind people this is a fundraiser, and yeah, if they want to give more, they can. And I also like the idea that they're able to help people that are wouldn't be able to afford the 150. You know, that gives a little grace there for the few people that may need it. So, based on the Legion's ability to determine that and vet that. Now we decided on the banners, just the picture on the one side, basically, because on this road, it's divided highway, you wouldn't see anything on the back side. Is there any roads that would have something that would be more of the two-way road where we'd want a banner on the front, a picture on the front and back of a banner? Or did we pretty much
No.
rule it out?
It would have a picture on the front and back.
It does. I thought what I was looking at, it said honoring the veterans on the back.
Right.
So it'll be one veteran as you're driving this way and it's a different veteran as you're driving the other way. So there'll essentially be two veterans on each pole, but on opposite sides.
So if I'm driving down the road, some of the picture could be on my right, or it could be on the other side of the roadway on the left. The picture would be facing me as I drove. Okay, well, that would accommodate a lot more.
Well,
I
that way,
people
if people
wouldn't
want their
complain.
banner back, they could get it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Because we can get two banners on every pole, basically.
Yes.
If you think of each pole has 4 sides, 2 banners,
Can we put that
double-sided.
up? Are we able to put that up on the screen?
Yeah, I have a picture of it.
Jenna, if you just
You know,
scroll down.
before you leave that screen, oh, okay.
Oh, sorry, John.
At the top there, where it says American Legion, can you go up a little bit? Yeah, sponsored by American Legion, Post 194, not Auxiliary Unit 194.
Oh, yeah.
Look at her fixing it on the spot.
And while we're talking about the cost, Mr. Looker, where do you want those? I can't talk this morning. If people want to give you a check, who should they make the check payable to?
Well, and I have a account set up at People's, so I'll be able to get that information to Jenna. That's where the money's coming out for the assistance with the others. So, and I'll have to get you that information. I don't have it right here. I have an account at People's that was carryover from the memorial.
So they should just make the check payable to the American Legion?
Well, I think that the way it's set up is Mason Veterans Memorial, but I'll have to look and see
Okay.
exactly what the name of it is.
You know, that might be an issue. You might want to look into that because that charity has been dissolved. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure that you can.
I changed the name of it and we moved the funding over to the American Legion. So that was one of the things I had to do to dissolve that.
Mm-hmm.
So the name of it has changed. That's the reason I'll have to get the correct name and everything.
Okay.
But it's actually under the American Legion.
Okay. That's good. That's good. You know, another thing too that I just thought of, a portion of this then will be, you'll be able to write off for charity, the difference between the 80 and the 150. because the remainder of it's a donation.
Right.
So we'll have to look into that, but we might want to put that at the bottom somewhere so people can save it for tax purposes.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, this is great. I'm excited to see it. When are the first flags going to go into production? Do we know?
What we're hoping is if we can get consensus on this application and how that all works, that we'd like to take the first 4, one of which is already hanging, and get those produced now. If this all goes smoothly, we'd like to try and have them up by 4th of July.
That's great.
But that'll be tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So you say the one is hanging already, Eric?
Yeah, just Jenna described just one of these is hanging, or you have a picture of that, didn't you say?
Yeah, I'm screen sharing it right now. Can you see it?
No, your first screen share is still up.
Let me see.
Hi, Roger.
There you go.
So John's is being displayed near the clubhouse near the golf center. If you guys want to drive by and take a look.
So are we going to have these all year long?
Well, the original intent was to do them around Memorial Day, the month of May, and Veterans Day. So, and so the month of November and the month of May, because there's other things that go on those banners the rest of the year, right, Eric?
We rotate them, seasonally. We'd want, and again, this kind of depends on the demand, and the less programmed it is, the easier. But if we have enough of them, we'd like to just work them into that seasonal rotation, making sure that on, around Veterans Day, that they're highlighted. I don't think you'd want to, like, if we left John's up there all year long, it's going to get worn out and faded, and folks will stop noticing it. It becomes part of the scenery. So some rotation of them is helpful on both counts.
The other picture you had is the back of that banner. Does that have contact information?
It just has the other side, John. It has the honoring.
Oh, it does? Okay.
Yeah. So what you'd see next to your banner is honoring our veterans. And then on the back side where the picture is would have honoring your veterans.
Okay.
So it'd just be the opposite on the back side.
I'm just wondering if there's any, contact information. I guess, how do we get this out to people who are interested in purchase?
Well, I was thinking if we put 4 of them up and we'll put them in, Mason Montgomery would be the focus for July 4th. I think that's where we push out the social media as well as like on our website. And I love the idea of donations. And you may get over that July 4th, you may get a lot of people donating.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think we push that message about donate to this as well as if you're interested in it.
Okay.
All right, it's great.
We'll put it in Center Point, John, as well. All of our communication tools the city uses to promote activities, events, as well as, the community center will be on the reach screens over there.
Okay.
The biggest advertisement is going to be having them up on the banner poles. That will create its own.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I think if you just put them up seasonally, that's when it gets more attention.
Right.
Because people aren't used to seeing them, and all of a sudden they pop up, and it's like, oh, okay.
Well, and that's the reason we thought, maybe the, just for the month of May for Memorial Day and the November for Veterans Day.
Hey, Jenna, can we go back to the application? Just if we can make sure we're all good with that, that's probably key to getting things rolling for July.
Yep.
We'll put in 150. Is everyone comfortable with the eligibility requirements?
Yes. And I think 150 is good. So if we need to come back and modify this, we can based on demand. Like I said, I think if the demand is as strong as we think it's going to be, I don't think there's a problem in raising this price. Depending on because we have how many poles? I mean,
We have 72 banner poles in the city.
okay.
if
So
you
right
put
now,
two on each, it's
but right now we're talking 2 years. If they get to keep it up for 2 years, that's why I'm thinking if it's a year, then they could just keep paying every year they wanted to put it up. They'd repay that same price again for the next year.
They want to renew it? Yes.
Right. Or maybe you discount it for a renewal after the, maybe it's 200 the first year. If they want to do it every year, it's 150 every year after that, or whatever price you wanted to come up with. But I think based on what we've seen in some of the other cities, I think demand will be strong.
Why don't we just leave it at 150 for now, for 2 years, and then readdress it in 2 years to see where the demand is, how the flags are holding up, and
I think we readdress it in a couple months. Let's at least talk about it on our next meeting. We come back together here, and we'll be able to review what's going on and get some more information on it. Is that fair?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably useful to how this is work. This is the Board of Veterans Affairs, so you're guiding this partnership. But when it comes to implementation, there's a partnership between the city and the Legion, and the Legion is really carrying the administrative weight as far as taking in the dollars, getting the approvals of the families, getting the photos. And in practice, the Legion is then turning over to us. Here's the photos. Here's money to buy the banners for these photos. They've got the authorizations. And then the city, we're really just storing and hanging the banners and then giving them back to the Legion. So as a city role, which is a little different than the board's role and a little different than the Legion's role, at the end of this, we're just giving our banner poles and factoring into the banners that we already rotate. The Legion is going to be doing most of the front end footwork. The city will also be using our marketing. We'll obviously be getting the questions, but most of that is going to be turned over to the Legion for review. We're going to follow their lead.
I think my only concern is that we want to make sure this runs smoothly enough that we don't have a lot of disappointed people. I mean, what if we have you got 72 polls? What if we have 300 people within the first month? Well, at the end of the year we have 1,000 or something. You know what I mean? I'm thinking it could go that crazy. Maybe, who knows? But I mean, I'm just thinking, and so we need to be able to way to control that a little bit, so don't have people saying, well, why didn't you think of this, and why are you doing it this way? And so I just think we need to.
And that's part of what I'm saying, that may be, that's why we want some language there on the eligibility requirements. The Legion may say, okay, these veterans resided here, that they were, they're definitely Mason veterans, but we may have to, kind of put a limit on because someone that lives here wants to sponsor all of their ancestors or their grandkids. They're in California.
Right.
The
right now it's pretty loose.
Here.
In my mind, this is pretty loose because it's, I mean, even if it's just the immediate family member of somebody that currently lives here, then that person, unless they're deceased, if they don't live here currently, that's a lot of people that could be applying.
One thing that I can say, and I can't speak for all the veterans, but I think within the veteran community, I think it's a pretty gracious community. So I think they would be understanding, if there's a high demand and maybe their sign doesn't get put up right away or something like that. I think, I think we'll be okay with that if we find that demand is extremely high. So I think most veterans are just happy to be honored, right? and thankful for that opportunity. So.
Well, I'm just saying, if it's 300 people, they would be 4 years before their banner would be up. You know what I mean? Unless if you're doing it if you're doing it 1 year instead of 2 years, you know?
Well, and according to the language in here, keep in mind, we have language in here. It doesn't mean that their banner goes up every Veterans Day. If we have that much demand, or if our idea was to rotate it. So you might get yours up on Veterans Day, but you're not going to get it up on Memorial Day because there's just too much demand. So trying to rotate them for each holiday as well, if we had
Right.
to.
So how long would the banner actually fly?
We typically keep it up. We try to do a week before the actual holiday and then the week of the holiday.
Okay.
I think that goes to the city's concern. We want to set the expectations because we know folks are going to want to say, well, where's my banner? Or where's, I bought a banner for this. Tell me which pole it's hanging on, which is why we kind of want to start, well, Mason Montgomery. If we have to catalog all that, that'll rapidly kill the program.
Oh yeah, that's an administrative nightmare.
Right. I don't think we do that. I think you put out a map saying, here's the location of 72 poles. It's a scavenger hunt. Go find it, And that way you're honoring everybody. You're looking at all the different names out there while you're looking for your family member. So I don't think you have to be able to tell them exactly which pole it's on.
I think we should move along because we still have a lot to discuss.
Jenna, can you scroll down on the application?
Yes.
Yeah, and Jenna, I'll get back with you about information about, where to send the checks to and stuff. Okay.
If we add a line there along the lines of, donations above 150 are welcome and will be used to help sponsor other banners.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
Also, if I can just real quick, this was the idea of council member Chance, and he was very excited about it. And he's no longer on the Veterans Committee, but I just wanted to just kind of throw that out there to give him some acknowledgement because it's a really good thing that he proposed. And I think it's going to be successful. And I think our residents are really going to like it. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
One other comment on the application, and we don't have this yet, and I'm not even certain on it, but we may want to add some language, which we've seen in other communities, which is more kind of legal language on the city's behalf to the effect of that by allowing these type of banners, personalized banners on the poles, that we're not trying to create a public forum. Legitimizing this as part of the civic nature. I think some communities maybe have run into problems that, if you put a banner up dedicated to an individual, does that open up kind of a free speech forum where every individual has a right to do their own, create it as their own ad or their other form? So we may add some language in the application just to that effect, that this is a legitimate civic purpose and not a First Amendment forum.
And you may want to have something in there, a line that says that the Legion has the right to not display anybody. They can pick, just because you paid the money and put your application in, that the Legion is the one vetting this. And I mean, making sure that'd be a lot of work by itself, just making sure these people, because if I'm not incorrect here, John, maybe that there's a lot of people that pretend to be even Purple Heart recipients and walk around in uniform and just to get attention like that. So, I mean, we probably want to make sure these people actually did serve.
Well,
as this grows, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that a lot of people do that dishonorable stuff, but I'm hoping that the people that we talk to and people that are concerned at this, maybe we get a copy of their discharge papers, their T14s to verify. So maybe we add that to this too.
Yeah,
Or
definitely.
Or at least have it as an option as this thing takes off if we think we need it.
Right.
Oh, I think we definitely should have it.
So some line under eligibility requirements effective that the Legion may ask for other documentation and reserves the right to screen applicants.
Yes, just a a CYA, you know?
Yeah, just for verification only, you know. I think that would be good because that way we have a way to track those banners that are up and stuff with the application.
Now, John, and for everyone's benefit, there's going to be a lot of front end work on this, just getting the photos, you know, the right quality, getting the family's approval and the right wording. It's not going to be as simple as just here's my application and churn out a banner. There's
Right.
One-on-one work.
Yeah, and you know, the Historical Society has been big help in getting these photos and stuff.
Yeah,
So in our future meetings, I'd sure like to add Jerry to this conference if we could. Jerry Mullins.
Hopefully future meetings, we'll be able to sit in a room together and they're public meetings, so anyone's welcome to attend.
Great. I look forward to that time when we can sit together in the same room.
I do too, John.
Hmm.
Should we
Are
move
there-
on to
Any
Purple
other,
Heart City?
any other comments or on the application or those adjustments? We're good to go on that? Okay. Any other comments or questions on the banners or how they look or the design?
I thought they were
You're
beautiful.
not saying much. What do you think, Roger? Must be muted. Chief, have him muted.
I think he's just far from the speaker.
There you go.
There you go. That's better.
I think they look pretty good. I'm quite pleased with the way they look.
John, I may follow up with you after this meeting to just confirm the artwork and dates for each of the 4 veterans we want to sponsor, and just
Okay.
confirm that you have permission from the families so I can get those ordered in
Well,
time.
you're gonna have to stand in line. Jennifer's already asked me to
Oh, okay.
save some time.
You're very popular.
Okay.
I think the only item from our side is I did email out a draft of a Purple Heart resolution. That's just kind of a first take. We are still waiting on contact with the individual responsible for the program. Believe that he's probably, as part of his role with the state, has still in shutdown mode. So we expect to be hearing from him as the summer winds down. And really, I believe this resolution is a first stab at what the next step would be, is scheduling him for a council meeting where council would be asked to adopt this resolution. The Purple Heart Group would then accept that, express their reciprocal appreciation, and following that, we would be designated a Purple Heart City, and the next step would be posting signs. So I think unless you want to, and we can do this offline, if you want to review the resolution or make comments or suggest add-ons, that's kind of a blank slate.
You have a copy of the resolution, Eric, by any chance?
It's
Yep,
in what I emailed out, and it's just a draft. It's very much at liberty to add and modify.
Jenna, would you send me the copy of the new application form so I can get the rest of the information for you?
Yep. Mhm.
Eric, are we gonna have a placard stating that we're a Purple Heart City?
Our intention is, once the designation is, that we would have signs posted at the entrances to the city. And I believe we can put it on, yes, we can placard, poster, plaque. I don't think there's any limitation on how we promote it.
That's good. I'm not familiar with the process on how to declare a city a Purple Heart City. Is it something that once you're declared a Purple Heart City, that's it? Or do you have to like go through any process to get every so many years to become, no, okay.
No, once you qualify for it and once the application's done, I think that's lifetime.
That's great.
And there's no cost?
No.
Okay. And do you have to have a Purple Heart recipient in your city like we have you? Is there a requirement? I mean, I just wondered if they required that. No.
No, what the process is at its basic is council on behalf of the city expresses appreciation, and we would want to invite Purple Heart recipients in the community to that meeting. And it's really kind of a civic exchange of appreciation. We're saying on behalf of the community, thank you. And then they thank us for designating the city that way. And then you promote it.
I love this.
If schedules work and if our contact is available and Chief Farrell's been contact point there, I think it's really just a matter of getting it scheduled for a council meeting. And I would hope we could anticipate it September, October, prior to Veterans Day is my ambition.
Great.
You know, August 7th is actually Purple Heart Recognition Day, so I didn't know.
What's
day,
it?
John?
August 7th is Purple
August?
Heart Recognition. August 7th is Purple Heart Recognition Day.
July 7th?
August 7th.
August 7th. Boy, that would be awesome. We could get it by then.
I think at this
But
point,
I'm,
it's a matter of scheduling with the contact, and he's offline right now.
so
Okay.
you say Ron's in touch with the gentleman, I forget his name, Randy? So
Randy,
is that it?
we'd made contact kind of early days of the COVID-19, and then as part of the shutdown, he went offline, and Chief's been bird dogging him. As soon as he
Okay.
comes, we got him.
Good.
Well, if we're done talking about the Purple Heart City, I have a couple more items. Are we ready for it? Okay. So I think that now that we have these two projects underway and they're almost complete, we need to think of what our next project is going to be. And I just have a couple options, but maybe at our next meeting, if everybody can kind of brainstorm. What about putting up highway memorial markers? That's one of them. And I'm not sure, but do we have a Gold Star family monument in our Veterans Memorial in Mason?
No, we do not.
That might be something that we want to look into as well. And then does Mason do anything for the students of Mason High School that serve?
Yes, well, I don't know that the city does, but the Legion is always there for the ceremony when they talk about going into the service. This year we didn't. Every year previous, we've had 10 or 12 decent students that have gone into military service. We recognize them there, and then of course I give out the coins that I normally give out.
Last year, we included them as well in the veterans, honoring our veterans video that we played at Red Rhythm and Boom. We recorded that ceremony and included that.
Would having some kind of memorial or anything within the Veterans Memorial in Mason, would that be something that would be appropriate to do? One of the monuments?
It's been talked about before.
For Gold Star families,
Yes.
Well, either Gold Star families or the Mason students. Mason students who've served.
Oh, are you talking about honoring them with a brick possibly?
Mm-hmm.
Or something similar to that?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. Could you repeat that?
Honoring them with a brick in the memorial or something similar to that?
Yeah,
Gold Star
something.
families, I think, need more recognition than that.
I definitely do too. I would love to do some kind of a project for the Gold Star families. I think
Yes.
that's it's very important. So those are just some of my ideas. Hopefully on our next meeting, we can come back with some ideas on our next project so we can get moving on that as well.
That's great. I like the Gold Star. Anna and I get involved with Gold Star families a lot. Zanowicz, I don't know if you heard Anna or not, but Paul's dad passed away on Monday.
Who's dad?
Paul Zanowicz's
Oh.
dad.
Oh.
And he and his daughter Nicole are on their driving out to his funeral and stuff. So I was at our meeting for Monday night that he told me. So
That's too bad.
passed away Monday morning. Anybody have anything else?
No, I think I'm good. Anxious to start seeing this stuff move forward. I like the banners and I like the Purple Heart declaration. That'd be awesome.
Do we want to set the next meeting time? Since we're all here?
That'd be great.
So we don't need to meet anymore on the banners, correct? I mean,
No.
Okay. So, you want to meet in a month, next month?
Well, do we need to meet before the 4th or anything, or since we're trying to keep these 4 at least up by the 4th, I guess. Correct, Eric, is that my assumption?
I have two thoughts. I think as far as a meeting like this, anytime in July, maybe that second, third, any time in July that schedules work. I'm hoping, and here's just a thought, if we can get these banners moving, and I do think it'll be tight, but it would be nice if when we hang, say the first banners, those first 4, it might be good as part of the press if we had the board there, all of you there, maybe do a photo or do something to help draw attention to it, because I don't see another opportunity between now and then to really show off the work that we've done to get them up there. I hesitate to say that because it may be tight to get them up in time for 4th of July. And if we can get the applications finished today, but maybe we have a photo op meeting and call it July 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, if all of our timeframes work.
I'm out of town the 1st and the 2nd. I come back on the 3rd.
It's open for me.
What's that?
3rd is open for me.
But Diana, are you able to do it by Zoom even though you're out of town?
Can we do it? Why don't we do it on the 4th of July?
That's a holiday.
Yeah, but that kind of makes it monumental. It's just pictures.
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
Tell you what, maybe if everyone can just email me their travel plans. It's really driven more by when the banners are ready. And I'm just hoping they're ready in that time frame. And I don't think we need to do a meeting announcement, and we should do something with the banners, whether it's the 4th, before or after. We'll find a time where everyone's available and get you all here for a photo op. Even if it's just posing in the atrium in front of the flag with a sample banner, that may even be a better photo op than trying to get out in a meeting.
Yeah. And the 4 of them are ready, correct, Jenna?
Say that again?
The 4 of them are done, right?
The only one I have is the sample of yours that's hanging right now. I'd have to order the rest of them.
Okay.
Which we need the family approval.
Yeah.
Right?
Need family approvals.
I've already got approvals for those 4.
Okay, perfect. You know what, as part of, if we could do the photo, we can do something on July 4th, maybe some type of virtual thing with our residents that say, go seek the banners out. And if they can submit the names of who's on the banners to us, that, you know, we have some type of contest or something like that. So it draws people out to look at the banners. We could run something like that on July 4th.
It's cute. Something for kids too, you know, for kids to do.
Back when we were trying to have a schedule, we had July 23rd as a Board of Veterans Affairs meeting at 9 a.m. If we just want to kind of resurrect that, and if everyone will send me their schedules the end of June and July, we'll just find the opportunity where we can do some type of together, not a meeting, but an opportunity to get a photo and kind of mark the banner program.
We all can wear patriotic masks too. Take a picture.
So maybe by July 4th, we won't need days, right?
Thank you.
All right, sounds good to me.
Okay, so July 23rd, we'll call a meeting. Everyone send me your schedules and we'll keep you apprised on how the banners progress and look for an opportunity to post patriotically.
Is it 9 a.m. did you say?
That's what we had.
Yep, okay, just checking. Right,
Okay,
all right,
Great.
sounds good.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good day.
thank you, Jason. I think we're adjourned.